Our next panel discussion is about on-demand services reshaping F&B. This panel will explore the new digital services in the F&B industry, as well as the broader technologies and trends that are impacting the sector. Please welcome to the stage the moderator of this session, Rami Boujaudi, the Deputy General Manager at Beirut.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon our guest speakers today, Mr. Rashid Sultan, founder and managing partner of Savour Ventures. And please, a round of applause for Rashid. Thank you. Mr. Karim Miknas, managing partner, anywhere you like. McDonald's Lebanon. And Mr. Bechara Haddad, country manager for Zomato. Great. Let's make sure this is working. Yeah, okay.
It's a chat.
Huh?
It's just a chat.
We're going to chat, yeah? We're going to ask a few questions and discuss the status of... one second. Okay. We're going to talk about digital transformation in the food delivery and ordering in the region. As you know, according to Euromoney and AT Kearney estimates, the food retail market in the GCC has reached 106 billion in 2017. The most aggressive growth internationally and domestically has been in the food ordering and food delivery space through acquisition spears with Rocket Internet like Talabat, Carriage, and 24 Hours AE, and side businesses entering the space like UberEats and Zomato Delivery. So there has been an identification of more than 100 startups in the region, across the MENA region. Recently, as we all know, and we're going to talk about it with Rashid, in Kuwait, they launched the first food-related accelerator, and we're looking forward to discuss how this market is shaping, how people like McDonald's, who have their own systems, their own production, are dealing with the situation, how third-party players like Zomato, who started in connecting restaurants to consumers, are taking upon the opportunity to deliver and connect more with the consumers that they support, and how VCs and investors are interested to support, interact, and play a role in that market. So I'll start first with the first question. So our first question is to discuss the rise of the on-demand services, the trends and challenges. So each one of you, gentlemen, have seen the changes happening. So if you can all share with us your insights on the challenges, the opportunities, and how you are adjusting to those changes in the market. I'll start with Rashid.
Sure. Can you hear me? Yeah. I think the major difference between my viewpoint and the gentleman to my left is that I get to choose whether I want to invest in this segment or not. They have to do it. What we're seeing today, and it's early 2018, is this trend towards lowest cost provider. So you see the delivery applications, marketplaces are trying to figure out how to do it in an efficient manner while still making money. And what we also see is nobody has been able to do that. So nobody, not even in the US, my understanding is UberEats still hasn't made $1. So how does that change our marketplace and the view that we have and merchants have when they're making that decision of being on Zomato or Talabat or Carriage or building their own fleet like McDonald's has? So it's exciting times for us, I think. That would be my 2 cents.
Great. Karim, would you like to give the input of McDonald's, the experience you have here in the region?
Sure. It's a little bit of a broader answer for me because around 2.5 years ago, we kind of decided globally. We had a new CEO come into place, And Steve Easterbrook decided that digital was going to be at the heart of our turnaround and transformation. And so, as you said, it's not really something that you choose, but also it's, you know, when you look at the marketplace, you realize that they're right. You have to absolutely embrace everything digital to make life easier and relevant and remain relevant to a contemporary consumer. So the fact that, I mean, we just started working with Zomato as a third-party supplier, this was something that was a little bit of a difficulty for us initially, because we like to be very much in control of our data, of our entire delivery process. We were just talking about it outside. And so I think that what the challenge moving forward will be, I don't really want to talk about the difficulties, but the challenge moving forward is, are we going to rely solely on third parties to deliver? Or is it going to be a combination as it is today? And I don't really have an answer for that because we're still learning as we go through it. But definitely, we have a very robust system that works very well for us. And what we do with Zomato is an additional incremental business for us, which is very, very important.
So yes, I'm totally aligned with you on this point. But if you go back 20 years ago, like no one used to call even to deliver. So the market changed really fast. And when we launched Zomato, like roughly 4 years ago, we didn't even plan for having the online ordering platform. So we were basically a search and discovery platform to discover new restaurants. And once we found out like the market is shifting more to a digital transformation business, whether in food or taxis or bookings, so it was easier for us to do this shift because we had the user base. So our cost of acquiring one order is much less than any other company in this business. So we waited like 4 years to launch the online ordering. Mainly the main issue was the cost of acquisition. Now the cost of acquisition is really small based on the number of users we have. With time, markets are really changing really fast, so we need to add a lot of new products, a lot of new services to back up the online delivery, to give an edge for the restaurants to work with us and not with other partners.
Interesting. So each one of you have a take in the digital transformation. It's interesting coming from a background of supporting entrepreneurs, how the urge to transform, to have opportunities and transform the way we do business comes in each of your businesses. So as consumer trends are changing, businesses are adjusting. Third-party food deliveries, aggregators have been aggressively going after markets like Talabat and on-delivery. And some large players in other sectors are entering the space, like UberEats and Zomato Delivery. But we are seeing a pushback from the shares of some of the players. They're worried about their data, they're worried about the quality of the products being delivered, how they're delivered, and they're worried about how their customers are perceiving the deliveries and the data that people are delivering those things. How do you see the future of this? How do you see the market adjusting? Maybe we start with Bechara at this time, because you with Zomato Delivery, you're definitely in that space. You're really getting into using the database that you have, the trends, the interest, the value of the restaurants, the businesses that you support, and seeing how you can add value and benefit at the same time by adding value to them and to you. So let's start with you.
So mainly today, everything is becoming like a marketplace. So having your restaurant mainly on Zomato for order, it's an opportunity to increase your sales. Right now, it's small. The market is still really small. Mm-hmm. The huge part is still on call. But with time, this will shift back to ordering online. So if you're not there, you might miss an opportunity. Mm-hmm. But I understand the issue of the restaurant owners, like the food quality, like who's responsible for this? Especially now, we are having a lot of platforms giving the delivery fleet. So now you have the delivery fleet, the platform, and the restaurants.
Mhm.
And if the food gets delivered really bad, who's responsible? Is it the restaurant? Is it the driver, or the Zomato or any other platform? So this is really sensitive for restaurants. So it will change the image users used to have for this restaurant when they go to dine in, and this is what we were discussing outside. Sometimes ordering a pizza from a nice Italian place, you get a taste, and when you dine in, you get another taste. So this is really critical. And you have the delivery packages also that will change the whole experience of food. But I think with time, the rest, it's an opportunity loss if you're not on any platform for online ordering.
Definitely. So you really cater to support the restaurants that are mainly not able or willing or have the possibilities to deliver directly or have an online platform by sharing, your platform, the
Mainly the
opportunity.
user base. It's mainly
And
the user base
using-
that we have.
Okay,
And also, it's really hard for the user to download one app for each restaurant.
that's true.
So we have all this on one platform.
Great. So we'll move to Karim with McDonald. When McDonald's started, it started with having prime locations in cities where people can drive through and stop and so on. And now in the digital era, we have restaurants that are not even having a front door. They don't have a location that is prime, but they are able to sell through digital platforms and access those things. How is that affecting, if you want, the business model of McDonald's? How are you using digital to assert to the consumers the value that you offer, the product that you offer, the freshness that you provide? So how are you adjusting to that transformation?
It's a lot of questions. I still think that location is still going to be very, very important.
Okay.
We are still a destination. We haven't become a hub that nobody sees and food is delivered from it. We don't actually, we have very few of those models globally that are working, and usually what ends up happening is they close down and a restaurant opens in their place because they see that there's enough need in the area. What we have done and what will continue to evolve in digital is we've put digital across the counter now. So we have a very clear example of that in our newly renovated restaurant in Daura. So you can walk in, you can go up to the kiosk, you can order whatever you want at the kiosk. You can go in to each item and customize how you want it. You can have the sandwich cut in half, you can have extra onion, less onion, more tomato, whatever it is that you want, complete customization. And then you can even, let's say for example, you want to order a dessert or a coffee at the same moment, you can ask for it later with a special take later ticket. You can pay at the kiosk, and it's very fast, it's very secure, it's with Ariba. And what this does is that it gives the guest 100% control over the entire ordering process, and it allows us more possibilities to interact and more possibilities to actually serve, and to what we would call showing off our hospitality in a way. So I think that for us, that's the kind of in-store experience. And what will eventually happen, and what's happening, I mean, by eventually, I mean in increments of 12, 18, 24 months, things are happening very, very quickly. Where eventually you'll be able to walk into the restaurant and you'll be recognized through the Wi-Fi, and you can order on your phone, and you can do everything that I just explained on a kiosk, you can do it on your phone or your tablet. So it's even more, it's giving the customer even more of an opportunity to have control over their entire experience. And today we're even doing table service. So you take a tracker, you go and sit down at the table, we come and we deliver the food to your table. So it's at almost every touch point that digital is interacting. And what we're looking at long term is how do we integrate all these things into one space so it's not disconnected?
Great. So you're bringing the personal experience to the fast food services, and I've experienced that. I haven't been to the Dawra store, but I've
Please.
experienced that in Europe, and I find it fascinating. Rashid, you have, as you mentioned you have the opportunity to choose where you want to invest, what technologies, what trends are what trends that you believe will change the MENA region. Can you tell us a bit about why you decided to go into that vertical, and what are the trends, in your opinion, that would lead in the coming year?
Oh boy. Well, I think we chose the food vertical for a number of reasons. I'd spent 15 years in the region investing and working in food, so I understand that. We also think there's enough startups in the region within the food vertical that it gives you a pipeline of investable companies. When I look at trends in the region, there's usually, you may say there's usually a lag between what happens in the West and what happens in the Middle East. It used to be 10 years, now it's maybe 5, and it's come down to maybe 2 or 3 years. And now we're seeing it firsthand. So I believe in this digital transformation. I believe in kind of the likes of merchants like McDonald's owning that customer journey. So, you know, he's talking about very soon having this ability on your phone to order your food as you walk in and knowing, well, we invested in a startup in October that does exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is available. It's already here,
Absolutely.
right? So I believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have believed in it if I had not tried it or seen it firsthand. And so it's fascinating how that transforms our region and our user experiences. And different markets within the region are kind of following different scales. So in Kuwait, we're all about delivery. And so this argument of I'm going on to Zomato is going to give me incremental sales doesn't work anymore, because everybody's switching from going to a restaurant to ordering online.
Mm-hmm.
Call it laziness, call it whatever you want, convenience.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that, and we see this trend towards convenience. And so we try to stay ahead of the curve and invest in things where it will enable that convenience factor further and further. Like smartphones did to the telephone.
Interesting. So convenience is a key component. I guess it comes in with each of your lines of business. In Zomato's case, you started by offering the conveniences of choice. People have the opportunity to learn what other people are saying about those restaurants, those spaces, how they interact with them, the feedback, the trust between the users of Zomato is increasing, you know, the rating, and so on. So when we look at connecting with platforms, Zomato's database, you know a lot about the people that use the app. Do you see a trend coming in where you can integrate more with the POSs of the restaurants, where you would be able to collect more data or share more data with the restaurants so that both of you could win more points in managing that convenience or that experience for the consumer?
We are working on something for the POS. It's called Zomato Base. We are testing it right now in UAE. So it's a smart tool that will let you know roughly how your consumer will behave and how you can increase your revenue based on the order. So let's say you sold like 30 burgers a month, and 27 out of those 30 were requested without pickles. So at the end of the month, the system will send you a report like, remove the pickles from the menu, keep the same price, and put it as an add-on. So it will increase your revenue from a cost perspective. It also can manage your the waiters, like between 2 and 6, you do not have a lot of traffic to your restaurants. So the system will generate automatically a calendar for all the waiters' attendance. So this will also decrease your cost. So this is still a pilot project. We are running it right now with 10 restaurants in UAE. But it's somehow a machine learning also. So it might take a lot more time than online ordering or other services like table reservations. But we think this is gonna be the future, like integrating the operation of the restaurants into one thing. Some restaurants won't like it because like the data is on the cloud now. Maybe small standalones, this will help them more to reduce their cost for running and starting up their own business. So we are going towards this, and we're going this way to help more the restaurants reduce their cost and to simplify the operation.
Great. Rashid, with the trends that are taking place, with that vertical being a hot topic in the region, are there any advices you would like to give to entrepreneurs who are willing to venture into that segment? Anything you'd like to give them so that they know how to scale in the region? Something to look after in their preparations of their business model? Any recommendations?
I think any recommendation you give an entrepreneur at any stage in any vertical is usually the same. You've been doing this longer than I have. At the end of the day, know your market, understand your customer, understand what value you bring. The only additional thing I would say is what we teach is there's a difference between the pain you're trying to kill and the painkiller that you've created, which is the product. And it's really, really important that you don't fall in love with your painkiller, but you fall in love with killing the pain. I see a lot of startups, even in the kind of the pitches that just happened here, who are in love with their painkiller. And that doesn't enable you to think beyond what you've created as opposed to how do you solve the problem that you want to solve. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're there for. That's the value you've created. So that's really important.
Great. Karim, if we look at McDonald, you know, your world leader, data has been an innovation and digital transformation has been core, as you mentioned, since the CEO of the organization took over. Can you share with us a couple of experiences that McDonald have led worldwide that you believe could become trends in Lebanon? We talked about the experience with the platform. Is there anything else that you think is interesting to share with our audience?
So he just mentioned that when I was talking about the ability to use your phone to do everything in store, not just for delivery. That is already in McDonald's too. It's just not here. So, you know, there's a lot of innovation happening in leading markets, and we learn from those leading markets, and then we get those solutions at a later point. So what I see happening is, at the moment, the direction that it's going is that there's geofencing around the restaurant, which is recognizing you as you enter the space, and it starts to interact with you immediately. And I was just in an interview across on the other side with Christine from Dunkin' Donuts. So it's almost exactly the same thing, where you have loyalty and you have all these other things integrated. But I think that where it's going to go next is going to be dictated by the consumer, not by us anymore. I mean, at this point now, we're saying, oh, this is what the consumer wants. This is going to make them more happier, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But I think that it's not even going to last 18 to 24 months. I think that it's going to happen even more quickly because we're getting so much feedback that we have to react to it. So yes, it is in the end of the day about consumer convenience and making it simpler and giving them the control. How do we break that thing and make it more interactive? This is going to be the next level. I think it's very exciting. But we have to wait and see.
Exciting. Do we have 5 minutes for questions? Yeah, excellent. Anybody in the audience would have questions for our panelists? I have one there.
Hi, I'm Karim Aswad. I'm a board member for Sumsum and Dunkin' Donut Lebanon. And since you mentioned Christine's intervention for the panel next door, I have a question for Mr. Miknas. As a company, we actually, as Dunkin', we decided that technology is extremely important. It's crucial to our work, but it's here to enhance human interaction and not to replace it. In what we consider to be a very human-centric retail business, do you share this view, and do you think that sometimes too much technology can actually backfire?
Good question.
Thank you.
I absolutely agree that in the end of the day, people are coming to our restaurants because they interact with us. It's not because they're coming to interact with a kiosk or to use a phone. These are just things that are going to empower the consumer more. So especially when we get into customization, so that there's no misunderstandings and this kind of thing. Secondly, and most importantly, I've been to many McDonald's restaurants in Europe over the summer. And what I noticed is that most people, while they are using the kiosks to order, they still want to talk to somebody about, what do you recommend, or where do you think I should sit? The other thing that we're doing, the third point, is that it's freeing us to have more people to help the customer. So I'll give you an example that we have a position now called guest experience leader. And a guest experience leader basically is responsible to be free to interact with all the customers in any way that they need, any way the customer needs. So if you see a mom walking in with 3 kids and holding bags, and you know immediately that this person needs help. This is enabling us to have more of our people engaging with the customer. And we like to call the technology the hardware, and we like to call the people the heartware. So I'm sure you have your own mnemonic for it.
Anybody else? Any other questions? One here, please, Fatima.
Hello. So my question goes out to Mr. Bechara Haddad. As you know, your competitors all over, like UberEats and Deliveroo and Talabat, they all own their own fleet, and Zomato does not. So could you explain if this is something like better for you? Does it influence the unit economics of the sale? Or
This will surely influence the returns of Zomato if we launch this fleet. Yet owning a fleet can increase your revenue and at the same time can increase your cost, where at the end of the day it might not make sense to have it. So right now we are studying this project, so we might launch it as we might leave it for someone else to do it. But this will surely needs a lot of attention from our side, because you have a lot of restaurants not delivering, and you have a lot of restaurants willing to give away this hassle of having the drivers to deal with every day. So we are coming a bit late to this, but we are studying it right now.
Any more questions? One more here, please.
My question is to Zomato, Mr. Haddad. I would like to take you back to the early stages of Zomato. How did you fill in? How did you populate the app? Did you I'm sure you didn't go to all the restaurants, but did you start and then rely on people to populate them, or how did it start?
Okay, so mainly when we started, the team was like 6 or 8 persons. Each one has a map, and we went like, let's say we are here in Sinelfil. I had the map for Sinelfil, and I was responsible to go in each and every road, look for new restaurants. So I go there, I took pictures, the GPS coordinates, the menu and everything, and we went back to the office, scanned all the menus, related it to the main phone number and GPS, and it took us like 5 to 6 months to list 4,000 restaurants. So it was mainly a manual job. It wasn't generated mainly in Lebanon because we don't have a lot of data online. So it was a feet on street operation. And now we get like suggestions from users, like this didn't find this restaurant on Zomato. It can be a zone that we do not cover, or it might be a mismatch with the name of the restaurant.
Great. So we're out of time. I will just sum up our intervention. So first of all, thank you all for being here. You gave us a lot of insights on digitization and the impact on the delivery, the food and beverage delivery in the region. If I am to sum up the panel in few words, we talked about convenience, we talked about human-centric, we talked about using technology to improve lives of people around us and connecting them to each other. Hardware was an interesting word that I've heard as well, so it's nice to know that we all aim in the industry to focus on the customers that we're doing, whether it's digital or human. The fact that whatever we're doing is trying to connect, use data to focus on doing a better job, connecting people to each other, connecting services to each other, and making everybody happy. So it's great to hear that. Businesses are there to fight, to win, but if we're all focusing on delivering the best services we can, I think it's a healthy environment. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.